guest to leave that is not answering the door. So the joys.
I love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Riley Rivera. She is one of our agents here at White Line, does great work and love it. I love talking to her. She's a lot of fun. But I was thinking today, so this is purely selfish, if I'm going to be completely honest, is that I bought a house. It's up in New Braunfels. And I was like, man, I'm kind of toying with Airbnb in it. And I was like, I'm going to run some numbers on it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to get Riley I'm going to trick her into doing this and seeing what she thinks about it. But I think it would be really helpful to see somebody who does this, because that's what you do full time, right, Riley? I mean, you do.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's my
your
full-time
niche.
Yeah, this is my, can't turn anything around. That's one of them in front. That's what I'm waiting at right now. So yeah, that's my baby.
Yeah. How many Airbnbs do you have?
8.
Why did you choose Airbnb? Why did you choose that short-term rental?
At the time it made sense for me. So I lived in my house. I bought it at 24, so I was still in college and nobody was going to pay for my college but me. I occupied one of the rooms in my house and then I rented out the other 2, and it's not what it was then. My house was not by far, like there was just frat boy like furniture in the rooms and stuff, whatever I had accumulated, but it worked. And so slowly, like I updated stuff, used it to pay for college, used it to pay the mortgage, and then got another property and decided to, okay, well, I know how to do this, let me do that. And then it continued onward to where we are today. So
awesome. So you started off basically with a house hack, right? Traditional house hacking.
Yeah, with the short-term aspect of it instead of the long-term, but yes.
Oh, so you were letting people come in, like they were renting rooms just for the weekend, or just
it was it was Airbnb. It wasn't long term. It was legit only through Airbnb. It would be a weekend. My house is by Lackland, so it was a lot of the Air Force graduations. It would be like a Thursday through Monday, Wednesday through Sunday type thing. So I had it down to the T. It worked very well and was very consistent.
So I got to go down that rabbit hole real quick, and I promise I won't go too far. I mean, you were very just transparent, going, "Hey, I live here. If you want a place to hang your hat for the night."
Yeah, it got to the point to where one of my guests asked if I was terrified because I was a single woman living by myself.
That was going to be my next question.
And asked if I locked my door, and I was like, you know what? I don't even lock my bedroom door. I should probably do that. Like, it was fine. I'd never had a bad experience. I had maybe one angry person, but while I was in the home, everyone was pretty respectful. So I never had any issues. While I was doing homework, people would make me, I think it was spaghetti or lasagna. They're like, you have your midterms, we'll do this. Do you want some wine? They'd leave stuff all the time. So it was pretty cool. It worked for me. I liked that experience better.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you got somebody just living there with you eating your Oreos. I'd be like, dude, that's my Oreos. Back off.
No, if anything, they offered more stuff and left more stuff for me that I wouldn't have to buy, whether it was groceries or I had this wine wall. So everyone thought I was like this wine connoisseur and it'd be like, here's all this wine, which would be cool. I wasn't that into it as they thought, but I got free stuff. So it was cool. It worked.
I know I've said this to you before, but man, like you remind me so much of my sister, because that is absolutely 100% something. It just your general, or because that is something totally like I'd do it and my sister would do it, but it's funny because she'd be like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about it, but I got free wine out of it, so thanks for not killing me. Yeah,
exactly. As long as I didn't die, I think I'm all right.
So that's a really bold move, because I've heard of house hacking, like especially when you're younger, you get some other single friend that it's a long-term tenant.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard of anybody Airbnb-ing it. And I guess if it wasn't too weird.
Yeah,
I guess are multiple people doing that?
Is what? I'm sorry?
Is that a very common thing? I've never noticed it. I guess I haven't really looked for it.
You could rent rooms. I have a friend right now that she has this 2-story house. All of her kids are basically out for the most part, and she rents the rooms upstairs in her house. She hasn't had a problem. So I don't know.
What would you rent them for? Like, what's a nightly rental for?
It just depends on what it is you're offering. But I mean, it could be between like a $30 to maybe $50 a night range for a bedroom. Depending on if you get your own bathroom, is it separate from everybody else on the other end of the house? Do they have their private entrance? Do they not? It kind of depends. You'd kind of have to run some comps on it, but nothing too crazy, but enough to pay your mortgage if it stayed steady.
So every weekend you're making $150-$200. You pull that off for 4 weekends in a row. You just made $800. You paid half your mortgage.
Yeah. That paid my mortgage. My mortgage for that is $850. So
there you go. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. So why didn't you tell me? So, sorry, Eric just texted me something that I thought was pretty funny. Just popped up. So moving on. So you got that. So I'm assuming when you finally just decided to move out of that house, you just went ahead and Airbnb'd the entire house.
Yeah, I took it off the market for a bit, but then yes, I did after that.
So you just went on and started collecting Airbnbs. So how did you pay for the next one?
The next one, which one did I turn into Airbnb? The other one I bought for $70,000. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. I personally do not like larger homes, so I now have that owner financed. But at the time, I thought more beds, more people, more money, and that was my second route of, navigating through the Airbnb aspect. But then I switched gears, and like I said, I did them smaller. Everything was smaller from there, but that was the next one. It was right down the same road, kind of just on the other end of Marbach. Mine was more like towards Marbach and 90, and this one was more 410 in Marbach. So it was on the opposite end, but I just had to drive down the road, and then I could go clean it. At that time, I was able to handle doing it.
Yeah, I got you. So how did you finance that second one? That's always the big question on everybody's mind. How do you pay for it?
I did hard money. I think I actually used, I want to say I had used Longhorn Capital or Longhorn Investments first. Then I ended up switching into a long-term 30-year after the repairs were done, because it needed about $30,000 worth of work. So
okay, so traditional hard money loan. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess Longhorn's real typical for a 6-month balloon versus a year. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So you had a 6-month balloon, and I guess when you refinanced out of it, did you use a DSCR loan or did you get a traditional? Like, how did you get out of that?
I think it was just a 30-year loan. All of my Airbnbs, people have this concept that you buy a house that's already ready to Airbnb and it's good to go and it's done. I personally don't believe that. I believe the same traditional as like flipping or the investment aspect. I go in, if the house is trash, I still go in, fix it using hard money or private money, and then go ahead and refinance it, then turn it into Airbnb. So it's more of a longer process than just getting the house that's already ready to go. Same with the building that I just showed you now, which don't mind me, I might go bang on the door in a second because the tenant isn't leaving and my best friend is joining me now with like cleaning. And so we're going to go like plan the day together and they're not leaving. So if I have to stop for 5 seconds and bang on the door to let them out, then don't mind me. But
so this is that right there, guys, is the sexy part of being an investor, because sometimes you just got to roll up your sleeves and go, get out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's different because it's her second day. I'm so proud she finally like quit her full-time job. So she's like, I'll clean, we'll do this. And we're like, oh, at 11 o'clock, they'll be gone. I'll already be sitting in there. I can get my laptop and do this. And I'm in the car, they're in the house. And she's like, hey, do I go bang on the door? And I'm trying to like navigate this with y'all. But yeah, the fun part of it. But no, like the building that I'm sitting at right now, though, it needed, I think it was $65,000 worth of work to be able to get it to where it's at, for it to be the 4 Airbnbs that it is. So that's my aspect with it, kind of going in the investor route, doing a cash out refinance, which is a little harder now unless you have a bigger spread because of the interest rates.
Who are you using for your cash out refis, if you don't mind me asking?
It's a little sticky right now. I'm in the position of maybe looking for somebody new. The person that I did use got into a bit of a bind with the investor or the investment aspect bank that I was using. It was ultimately Civic Financial that I was utilizing, but it was through a third party. He would always kind of search everything for me, let me know what the rates were, and Civic was the best. But then now I was having to go directly to them. So that changed the game a bit.
So like a typical broker, like you were just using a mortgage broker that just kind of pushed you through to Civic Financial, and you were doing traditional. So were you guaranteeing the property, or is the property itself guaranteeing it for you?
Guaranteeing what? I'm sorry.
The loan. Yeah.
The 30-year or with the hard money. So basically
the 30-year.
Yeah, the property itself, I throw it into a 30-year with my business name on it, and so other than that, paying the closing costs, it's now in that 30-year term. Some of them are 5/1 ARMs, some of them are. I figured I'd get that there, or I figure that out whenever we get there in 5 years. But yeah, I guess the property itself, if that answers the question, is the one guaranteeing the loan. if that makes sense.
I got so they ask you for like historical data on your transactions and who's been staying and how much revenue you're generating, or
yes,
is it just Riley going, "Hey, I'm a baller. Here's my check stubs."
It's a little bit more detailed than that. They don't ask my stuff. They do want a long-term lease. Hold on, give me 5 seconds. Tell her she needs to go now. What's her grace period?
She's not ready. She's still.
Well, she needs to hurry up. She wants a grace period and wants to stay. There's no grace period. I don't know who people think they are.
What's the window?
Anyway, no.
I don't know. You have to ask the host.
Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't know that there was a grace period after the checkout time. Hints for whoever's going to do Airbnb. There's no grace period. They need to get out at the checkout time.
See, we're learning real world situations right now. I love it.
It's not an option. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. As far as the
providing the income, for providing evidence of income to repay the loan.
They want a long-term lease technically, and this is against every rule in the world, so pretend you didn't hear it.
Bleep.
You can provide a lease and it worked out in your favor. A long-term lease, but there are other avenues that you need to go if you're wanting to do it short-term.
So there is a way, guys. That's called arbitrage, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people will go rent a place in a long-term rental. They'll rent it for a year for whatever $1,000 a month, and then they'll go turn around and Airbnb that thing. They're on their hook for that, but it's just called arbitrage. So you had to arbitrage this thing because I was curious about having some sort of seasonality or some sort of proof of. Yeah. And with a 6-month hard money loan, it'd be hard to get any kind of time frame in there.
They want to just make sure for the most part that you're able to take care of it. They will check your history, right? Like if you've done X, Y, and Z with these houses, if you're good for it. And then they do want to know, is it going to be able to be sustained in a long-term rental market? Is that rental income going to actually work for this loan? If worst case scenario, I mean, that's what they think it is anyway, is a long-term loan or a long-term rental portfolio instead of it being short-term. And if it does not work that way, then they more than likely will say no. So you want to make sure there's a good enough spread in what you bought it for and what you're trying to either cash out refinance or even to refinance in general. There has to be some kind of.
Are we still looking for like a 75% ARV?
I had to push for 75% on one, but yeah, typically I try to do everything worst case scenario. So I'd say if you can get it done at 65, 70, go for it. If you don't think you can, or the interest rates are going to change, or something else is going to fluctuate, worst case scenario, even maybe less than worst case scenario, always think about that. And then if that works, then you're safe. You're good.
Gotcha. So what, just real quick for those of y'all that are new to this, like what I'm talking about is purchase price plus rehab is 75% of the total value, the after repair value. So she's saying, see if you can get it even lower, because that'll be really nice to allow you to, maybe get some cash out of it at the end. Not have to pay any closing costs. You can wrap all that into the loan. So it'd be nice. So, all right, Riley, real quick, I'm going to show you. I know you want to go. I know you got some things. I really appreciate your time.
Fine. She's handling it. It's just, I want to just tell them like, get out, it doesn't always work that way. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So what I'm going to do is I want to show you my little casita that I just bought. Hello. Okay. Can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this little beauty right here I just bought, Riley. Right? It's in New Braunfels. It sits on a half-acre lot. I got it through an estate. I actually knew, it's a really long story. I knew the estate sell lady, and she turned me on to the owner. And by happenstance, the owner, the heir, I guess, used to be one of the police officers at TOU, where I went to college. And I had a few run-ins with the law at TOU when I was in college, but I was always very respectful and nice and all that kind of stuff. So he remembered me, and it was funny. And we sat there and kind of talked and all that kind of stuff. And he goes, "Hey, what do you?" And I said, "Hey, I can list it for you. I can do whatever you want." He goes, "What would you pay me?" And I went through it. And the way I saw it, the after repair value on this thing is about $475,000.
Okay.
So for the quick math, for those of y'all that are paying attention to what my thought process was, and I'm going to walk y'all through the house. I think it needs about, I don't know, I'd say 50 grand worth of work. So if I have $475,000 times 75%, it comes out to $356,000 is what I need to be all into this for.
And really quick, Colin, I don't mean to stop you. Where are you getting what are you using as far as your numbers for the rehab? Are you basing that off of if you were to sell it today, that's where you need to be as far as comps to get it to refinance at that point? Or
Correct.
why do you feel it needs that much?
That much rehab?
Yeah.
Oh, just to cute it up. So this is the
Okay.
inside of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, that makes more sense.
like there's really nothing wrong with the house other than it just needs a facelift. It's straight out of 1980. It is like 1984 Better Homes and Gardens like model house. Like this is it's so cute, but it's just dated. Like this paneling, as you can see, the carpet's all torn to hell. Bathrooms, right? I mean, it's nothing real bad. I kind of figured 50 grand. I got my contractor in there. She said 35 is what it would take to get this thing gussied up. Air conditioner, as you can see, is brand new. I'm always looking for stuff like that. Oh, that was me about another house. So as you can see, the water heater is actually in really, really good shape. So I don't have to worry about that. Backyard needs some cleanup. Back porch is fine, but I'm telling, like for me, we're basically, texture paint and new flooring, and then we're going to cut this stuff out. So
that's cute.
I don't have any pictures of the kitchen, but the kitchen is, you can see it's back there. So, but it's up at New Braunfels. So that's the rub. So I ended up picking up this house for $325,000. That's how much I paid for it. It's in, like I said, it's in really good shape. As you can see, there's no foundation, no roof issues. It's got a metal roof. It's like, I mean, all the big stuff's been taken care of. I just got to make it pretty. So for $35,000, I can make it pretty, which my original intent was just to flip this thing. I'm just short on cash, but we're kind of toying with the idea of renting it for an Airbnb. So my question to you is how would you go about looking at this to see if because it makes sense as a flip. It's a no-brainer as a flip.
Yeah.
But as an Airbnb, I don't know, because $325,000 plus, let's just say it cost me another 50. If I'm into this thing for 375, it's going to be a pretty heavy mortgage.
That's what I was going to say.
So it's like, I'm going to have to be able to generate some revenue. So how do you go about finding out like how much revenue you think something like this would generate?
Well, me personally, the first thing that I would do, because New Braunfels is so strict, each city has its own set of rules. I would see if it could even be Airbnb. Have you looked into that?
Where actually I've got my admin on that today. Calling the city, finding out. Because I've had Airbnbs in New Braunfels before, but it was a condo and it was a different scenario. It wasn't a true house. And this is a little bit outside. So those of y'all that are familiar with, let me show y'all. For those of y'all familiar, oh Jesus. Okay, that's where I'm at. So this is New Braunfels and this is Loop 337. And as you can see, this is the house right there. So it's just outside the loop. For those of y'all that don't know New Braunfels very well, this is where everybody hangs out. This is the Comal River. It's where they do all the tube shoot. All this stuff. Schlitterbahn's right here. It's maybe about a 7 to 10 minute drive to Schlitterbahn, to all this downtown stuff that New Braunfels has to offer. So it's a little bit off the beaten path, and it's a very quiet street. As you can see, there's not a whole lot over here. It's not like this big neighborhood, big anything like that. There's just a couple houses all straight up and down it. And this is what it looks like from the street. So real cute little property. But yeah, so first thing is we are trying to find out if we can do it, if New Braunfels will allow it. So what would be the second thing you would do?
Second thing, what I base everything off of, for whoever's listening, I explained to Colin, I'm okay with risk to an extent as long as I run my worst case scenario. So there's a lot of people out there that have certain formulas, and there's a lot of people that may take a different route. Mine is pretty cut and dry and simple. I will get on to Airbnb and act as if I'm a guest around that area. I'll see what the other people have their numbers listed at per night. Whenever I do that, I make sure obviously it's comparable to the property. You have to have the same amount of beds. You have to have the same amount of kind of like decor that you're trying to do, more or less. And I pick that number. And then I probably lower that number by maybe $20. Just again, worst case scenario for everything.
So we're just saying like a weekend. Is that like a good weekend? I'm doing Friday through Monday.
They give discounts closer to the time of you staying. So look a little further out, but I wouldn't look around Christmas. Like maybe the 12th or something 12th? Like that.
No,
that'll work.
Stop it. Check in on the 9th. Check out on the 12th. Okay. Or should I choose I'm flexible?
Yeah, No, it might give you the holidays. We're in this weird holiday thing, so you might get a super high number, and that might be an outlier.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna be looking for mine's at 3.2.
Okay.
Oops, 3.2. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, any amount of beds
Beautiful.
because I can do this. It's a full house.
I don't know if y'all could see, but those are the people that are supposed to be leaving. They're leaving now. Okay, continue.
Drama. Dude, you want to throw down? Like, come on, we got witnesses.
Dude,
Just leave the camera
I
on the
might,
dash.
I
We'll
might,
listen.
I don't
We'll be like
know.
cops. Be like cops.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, Riley, just give us the address. We'll be there.
No,
yeah, we got
hey,
you.
hey, you can show up right now. I'm ready. I
Dude,
came
this is
dressed
what I
and
love.
prepared.
It's what I love about White Line agents, man. Just throw out the bat signal. We'll ask questions later.
Hey, you need me there? Let's go.
All right. So as I come in,
that's around the same area as yours.
yeah. Okay. So I'm
Let's
looking here in
see.
New Braunfels. So this is New
Think
Braunfels.
a
There's
lot.
nothing
Make sure-
outside the loop.
Okay. Then you might want to change your dates if that's the case, because maybe it's booked, maybe it's not, but you want to nix the pool if you're not going to have a pool. You want to nix the things. You want to get it as close to your property and then as close to the amenities as possible. If you're not going to accept pets, huge difference. So make sure pick a property that accepts pets. All of mine are pet friendly. Some people are completely against.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of people.
So I'm gonna try the I'm flexible just because I don't really see anything. And we'll just say the month of February since it's a little further out. And and February, by the way, is a really bad month in New Braunfels because the summer times when everybody comes in,
Yeah.
does all that. Worst Fest is going on right now, so February is pretty good. Oh, say for a weekend. Riley, I'm losing
Having
you.
a bad connection
Yeah.
with Riley. Can you hear us, Riley?
No, she done popped off, man. She's done.
Yeah.
There she is.
Oh, she's back.
Which would be a good bad number to pick.
Hold on, we can't hear you, Riley. Hello,
That's a
Riley.
yeah, I'm here.
Sorry. Yeah, you're just getting a little broken up. Riley.
Just bad
Well,
connection.
Yeah, well, she's on her phone. Her laptop wasn't working. But I was going to show y'all another thing while we wait for her to come in. Is this website AirDNA? I don't know if anybody's
that's what I
ever.
was going to bring up too.
Yeah, I've used this before just to kind of get an idea of what's going on in the New Braunfels area. Let's see if I can get this to pull up. I'm on the Wi-Fi, so I know I'm doing good. I guess y'all can hear me still.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.